Well, match week 2 has come and gone, and we are here to talk all about it. I am Michelle, and this is My Mom Calls It Soccer.
I'm Chase, I call it football.
And today we are going to recap match week 2 by talking about the teams that our participants in the matchup have chosen and checking in, seeing how those teams did. We also have a new segment that we're introducing that is called Emily and Nick. So here's what happened, where they are going to update us on the latest with Manchester United and St. Louis City, their two teams. And then, of course, we will have another version of the Real recap with Grandma. So let's get to it. Okay, before we get into any recap or updates on match week 2, we are going to do our segment called Soccer or Football 101, where we are going over some rules and things that new viewers and fans of the sport need to know. Again, it's my elementary contribution to the podcast. Chase knows all the important stuff, but I'm still trying to learn and grasp new things and new rules for me. So that's what we're doing with each episode. So today we are going to talk about the continuous clock. Is that the right thing to call it?
Yeah.
Okay. So the clock runs continuously for the entire half.
Yeah.
And so we've talked about that a little bit before. And if you have casually observed, you might know that. But as a new fan of it, these are my takeaways. One, if you're used to watching American sports, there's a lot of commercials and a lot of opportunity for you to get up and use the restroom or get more snacks or refresh your drink. And that is not the case with soccer, football, correct?
Yeah.
So you need to be sure you do all those things before it starts because you're in for the full half. There's no stoppage or break for you to get up and do that, correct? Yeah. And then the other thing you need to be aware of is that when you get to what you think is the end of the half, it's not the end of the half.
Yeah.
Because, why?
There's injury time.
Injury time, stoppage time is what it's called.
Yeah. Added up after injuries happen while the clock's running.
Right. So explain that a little bit, because the clock does not stop for an injury or a foul or that type of thing.
I think the running clock is implemented because it's just too hard to stop it during something like that. Like, you might just still waste some time if you stop the clock. It's hard to do it, so they just keep it running, and then they add on the time from the injuries and stuff like that. It's a lot easier.
So the other thing is when you are looking at soccer stats, so this is kind of related to the clock. It took me a long time to understand there would be like 30 and then a little line, almost like 30, like a foot line, one little hash.
Yeah.
And that tells you what minute a goal was scored or what minute something happened. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So I didn't understand that. So when you're looking at the score of a game that you're interested in, are you giggling at me?
No.
Okay. And you see that, it's telling you at what time that happened, correct? So I didn't understand that. And then the final thing is that the clock counts up. So you are watching, and when you're coming to the end of the first half, you're nearing that 45-minute mark. Yeah. But again, when you get there, they're going to say, hey, we have this much added stoppage time, and that's how much you're going to play until it really is halftime.
Also, the running clock's also there, so it doesn't, become more of a longer game, football, because obviously every throw ball, free kick, you have to keep stopping the clock. That's just very
they
annoying.
don't. So in basketball, if the ball goes out of bounds, the clock stops.
Yeah.
And then you set. It does not happen that way. Everything just keeps going.
Soccer's a longer sport.
But that doesn't add, there's no stoppage time added on for that, right? That's just continuous play. You just get stoppage time if there's an injury, if there's a celebration after a goal, things like that take away from. So, okay, so something to remember. So if you are watching soccer/football with your friends who are already fans, just know, don't annoy them and get up in the middle of the half to go to the restroom or get a drink. You need to take care of it all ahead of time.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. And now our news segment. So here's what happened with Emily and Nick.
about Manchester United and St. Louis City.
Hi, I'm Emily.
I'm Nick.
And if you couldn't already tell by our kits, we are going to be giving a recap on the Manchester United match this week against Fulham in London.
So the final score was 1-1. The goal scorers were an own goal in the 58th minute for Manchester United off a deflected header from Linioro, and a goal about 15 minutes later, I think it was around the 73rd minute, for Emil Smith-Rowe, about a minute and a half after he came to the game as a substitute. The game started off pretty strong for Manchester United. We had a shot off the post from Mateus Cunha about 2.5 minutes in. Another couple really good opportunities. He probably should have scored again at the 13th minute, I believe. We really started off the game strong. Fulham kind of grew into the game after about the 20th minute. They started playing stronger and back and forth for most of the rest of the first half. After halftime, again, teams came out. They were pretty evenly matched. As I mentioned earlier, United scored in the 58th minute after bringing on a couple of substitutes, including Benjamin Sesko, our new signing and striker. Fulham really, after we scored, kind of again brought it to us, and they got that goal from Emil Smith-Rowe and closed out the game strong, the stronger of the two sides, I would say. But overall, 1-1 feels like a fair result, and we go into the next week, hoping for a better result. We played I think better against Arsenal in week one. I was really hoping that we could continue continue with that form into week two, but
Dogs.
you can't always win.
So do you want to talk about a player that stood out in this match, maybe from both teams or just one that you want to touch on?
Yeah, sure. So I think my man of the match, as a United fan, was Linioro. He played really well defensively. Had a couple good stops. Didn't really do anything wrong. Obviously, he had the deflected header that went off Rodrigo Muniz for the first goal of the match. I think he was definitely my player of the match from United's perspective. On the other side, I would say Emil Smith-Rowe. I mean, for coming on super sub impact, immediately came into the game, got the game tying goal in front of the home fans. Crowd loved it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are my two players of the match.
Great. Anything else that is worthy of mentioning on this match?
I think Fulham needs some reinforcements. They haven't really spent it all in the summer window. They brought in a backup goalkeeper, but I believe that's the only signing they've really made. So I think they could probably use another bench piece or two if they want to continue their push up the table. Since they got promoted a few years ago, they've kind of hovered around mid-table, and they have a good coach and some really strong pieces. And I think that they could push higher up the table if they made a couple of strong signings. Yeah. For United, I think it's just getting the new signings integrated and getting them on the score sheet. Cunha, I thought, had a really good game today. He really should have been off the mark. Was unlucky to not score. Mbomo has started really well. I think again, once we get these guys in scoring form, they're both 10, 15, 20 goal a season guys. So I think we'll be in really good shape if we can get them firing. We do need reinforcements, particularly in the goalkeeping space. I think at this point, Amorim has proven that he doesn't really trust Andre Onana, and he probably needs to go. Altay Bayindir, I don't think is high enough quality to be starting in the Premier League. He's not physical enough. He gets beaten far too easily. Particularly on set pieces last week. He got scored on at Arsenal. He just wasn't strong enough.
Yeah.
And this week, again, he had a couple instances where he needs to be stronger off the ball, and we were lucky to not get exposed from that.
Right.
So.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good. So what do you think one of the most memorable moments of this match was?
I would say memorable, but perhaps not in a good way for United fans. Just before Halftime, Bruno Fernandes got a penalty awarded after Bassey, the defender for Fulham, pulled down Mason Mount on a corner kick, kind of wrapped him up and flung him. And after a pretty lengthy VAR check, it was pulled back. The spot kick was given. In a weird turn of events, Bruno Fernandes was backing up to take his kick, and the referee kind of walked in his path, and they bumped into each other. It threw Bruno off of his routine. A lot of them have particular routines every time they take a free kick or a penalty, and so he had to start his routine over again, and just really seemed like he was a bit out of it at that point, kind of flustered, if you will. And he walked up, took the kick, and skied it over. He's historically a pretty solid penalty taker. His record is one of the better records in the league in terms of a conversion percentage. So a bit uncharacteristic in that regard, but yeah, I think that's definitely an impactful moment, and a moment that, if United score that, the game goes a different direction. I think we probably end up winning the game at that point. But you know, how it goes.
And while we're here, we might as well talk about what happened in the MLS this week at the City game. So, why don't we just, switch gears right now?
Emotional support scarf.
Yeah. Okay. So, you talking about what happened last night?
Oh boy. Okay. I mean, not really. So
it was a crash out moment, crash out worthy call. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. In the St. Louis City versus Vancouver match on Saturday night, there were a couple moments where the referee put referees in general in not such a good light. Kind of made a joke of the league. In the first half, there was a no penalty call that probably should have been a penalty call, truthfully, and then for both teams, and then there was a penalty call that was absolutely ridiculous. It was an arm pull that was about that strong, but the player went down, and really he went down because he got kind of stumbled into by someone who was pushed over. So it was a terrible call right before halftime. Whitecaps converted it, and City went into the second half. Game 1-1, and took the lead in the second half. The Whitecaps equalized about 10 minutes after that, give or take. And then in, I believe, the 98th minute, so 8 minutes into stoppage time, a Vancouver player was at the edge of the box making a run kind of towards the goal line, and accidentally tripped himself. His heel clipped his other foot, and he went down.
Very obviously.
Yeah, very obviously. For anyone that was watching, is watching from TV angle. On the field, the referee didn't call it, and in fact blew the whistle, and it appeared the game was wrapping up and was over. But in the VAR booth, the VAR for the match took a look at the incident and determined that there was contact. Determined that there was a foul that he thought the on-field referee may have missed and should go to the monitor to look at. The on-field ref went to the monitor, looked at it, and gave the penalty in, I think it was the 103rd minute, so it's about 5 minutes worth of review. And the penalty was given to Vancouver's newest signing, Thomas Muller, and he converted the penalty to give the MLS and the league their perfect soundbite, their clip for social media. He scored the penalty, of course, and Vancouver won the game 3-2 with the last kick of the game. So it was a pretty disgraceful call, if you ask me. I'm a former referee at the youth recreational level, and I would never have made such a stupid call. You could put me in a situation like that, I wouldn't make a call that bad. And this is a professional referee who does this for a living, and initially didn't make the call was recommended that he go back to look at it and then changed his mind. Rightfully so. St. Louis City fans are aggravated. Fans from across the league are aggravated because a moment like this doesn't just affect one team, these two teams. It affects the rest of the league in how the game affects the standings and the table. Vancouver is at the top of the Western Conference right now, not the very top, but they're in the mix for the top, three, four spots, which would be a home playoff game, and every point matters. There's some other teams that are also in that range that would be very unhappy, but the fact that Vancouver got 2 additional points handed to them from an outrageous and ridiculous call like that. The Vancouver fans, for what it's worth, have been really good online. They know that it was a terrible call. They all admit it and can't believe the call was made. It was truly a nonsense call. It was the league, in my opinion, looking for a way to get their new star signing onto the score sheet and into the highlight reel, and they got it. I mean, they certainly got it. Fan backlash has been pretty harsh across all of their social media, and rightfully so.
Thank you, Nick and Emily, for that update. And now it's time to check in with our matchup participants' teams and see how they did. Let's start with Josh and Rita's team, Arsenal. How did they do?
So they beat Leeds United, a newly promoted team, 5-0.
Okay.
Their new signing, Gyökeres, got 2 goals.
Oh, okay. A brace.
One was a pen in the 95th minute.
Okay.
So,
okay.
pretty easy for them. Should be. Good, solid win to build up goal difference as well.
Okay. So they're
2
and they've had 2 wins so far.
Yeah, 2
okay.
wins. And I think they might be top of the table right now.
Okay, so 2 wins, 6 points.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. Next up, Aston Villa. They're kind of struggling, right? That's Abby O's team.
Yeah.
So tell us what happened with Aston Villa.
So they lost to Brentford 1-0.
Okay. Is Brentford a newly promoted team?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
But
Sorry.
they did just lose their manager from last season.
Okay.
And I do think their new signing of this season scored. I don't know his name.
Okay.
But it's pretty embarrassing for Aston Villa as they've yet to register a single Premier League goal.
Okay, so they have not scored yet in their first 2 outings.
Yeah.
So hopefully they are going to turn that around and things will go better for them. Their uniforms are still cute. So, and their 3rd kit has come out. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it. You showed me it.
So cute. It's purple and light blue. Anyway, they have that going for them.
Yeah.
Okay, Borussia Dortmund, Abby B's team.
Pretty embarrassing draw for them as they went 3-1 up in the game.
Oh.
And then almost like immediately, like right after, in like the 89th minute, they draw 3-3.
And so who were they playing against?
St. Pauli.
Okay.
Not a big side
Okay.
in the Bundesliga. They're like mid to low table.
St. Pauli?
Yeah,
Is
St.
that it?
Pauli.
Like
Yeah.
St. Pauli girl beer? Older people will get that. Chase has no idea. Okay. All right.
It's just a
Interesting.
place in Germany.
Okay. Okay. So not a great outing for them. That was their first. Was that their first game or
No, that
second?
was
Their
their
second.
second.
Okay. So we'll stay in the Bundesliga and Bayern Munich, Brad's team.
Yeah. He let you know about this one. He beat RB Leipzig 6-0.
Yes. So again, Brad, of our participants so far, has been our most active, definitely into it, definitely watching his games and super excited. So yes, he texted me about it, and so that was a big win for them. They look very good to start with.
Yeah.
Okay, and so our other participant is Jamie. Again, she is a Real Madrid fan. And like last week, you and I could sit here and talk about Real Madrid, but why do that when we have a real Real Madrid fan here on our podcast staff in Grandma? So I'm going to step up and let Grandma take my place because it's time for the Real Recap.
Welcome to the Real Recap with Grandma and Kat as well. So, Grandma, how was the game against Oviedo?
It wasn't a real exciting game. It was a meaningful game. If you know any of the history of Oviedo, they have really struggled to get back after 24 years to the top tier. And the game was more meaningful in the fact that the last time they played in the top league, their last game was against Real Madrid.
Nice.
So this game was against Real Madrid at home. I should add that was
yes.
at home.
Yes.
So in the game, Real Madrid, Oviedo played pretty good defense in the first half. Finally, Mbappe scored in the 37th minute.
Off a pretty controversial goal as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
Tchouaméni maybe fouled the player, but
Yeah. Maybe they didn't call it. but
you'll start to understand La Liga refs are not. They're really not that good. They're the worst out of the top 5 league refs.
Yeah,
so.
and that ref, I think, has been controversial since the Spanish Cup.
Yeah, he has.
So, yes, that was a little questionable, but they counted the goal. So, going into the end of the first half, it was 1-0 for Real Madrid. The second half, they didn't compete quite as well as Oviedo didn't compete quite as well as they had in the first half.
They had a shot that bounced off the post.
They
right?
did. It hit the post. And if I'm being honest, I really did want them to score. I didn't want them to win, but just knowing that it's taken them 24 years to get back to this point, and that the club almost dissolved 2 different times, and Real Madrid actually bought shares when they were trying to get more people to buy shares and keep the club going.
Yeah. And another thing, just like Aston Villa, they've also yet to register a single La Liga goal.
Right.
So.
Yes. I think that they will. I think they're just slow to get back into it, but they did
They've
play.
had a rough schedule for these past 2 games. They've had to go against Villarreal in their first game, and then Real Madrid.
Yeah.
So
then in the second half, Mbappe scored again in the 87th minute. So then it was 2-0. And then 3 minutes into stoppage time at the end of the game, Vinny Jr. scored. So the score wound up being 3-0. And so it was a good win for Real Madrid. And
Vinny, who came off as a sub, got a goal and assist as well.
Yes,
So,
he did.
Yeah.
Yes. So good win for us.
yeah.
Okay, thank you to Grandma for that Real recap, and I hope everyone noticed her brand new cool jersey, her new Real Madrid kit, and she's looking sharp. So now it's time for us to talk about our teams. So you want to start with your recap on Barcelona?
So both of our scores are kind of similar, and the fact that we kind of had to make a comeback and the game ended 3-2. We went 2-0 down against Levante in the first half. One of them due to just the first counterattack that we received, and they immediately scored a goal. And then in the second one, it was off of a pretty controversial handball. I say it's 50-50.
Okay.
But Balde's like right here, and the ball like hits his wrist right here. Somewhere like
so
here.
they call a handball.
Yeah, and he's trying to just like get in like a blocking motion, and I don't think if his hand's out there, I think his body still blocks the ball.
So here's a dumb question for you: is a handball always a penalty kick?
If it's in the box.
If it's in the box, but if it's not in the box, they get the ball at the spot.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sorry. Go ahead.
And it's weird because like it's not like it's out of position. Out of position would be like right here and stuff like that. He's just like kind of keeping his hand in. He's not trying to get the handball.
Right.
It's not his fault at all. But yeah, controversial penalty. And they score it. It was a pretty easy pen from their player. I think that's the 4th time he scored against us. I know about him. He's 38 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think he's the oldest winger
Okay.
in La Liga. And then in the second half, we really we come out fiery, and in the 49th minute, Pedri hits a absolute amazing screamer into the goal, where it kind of like curves inside and then hits the side net. And then it hits the side net, and the keeper can't do much about that. It's just too weird of a curve to make like a kind of like a guess to where it's going.
Yeah.
It was just too strong, and he doesn't really usually take shots. He's more of a creator. I like that he took a shot because he has a strong leg on him, and he can really whip one in the goal. So, and then almost immediately right after that, in the 53rd minute, Ferran scores of a corner sent in by Rafinha, and it's some pretty poor defending from Levante. He gets it off his shin, and it hits the top netting of the goal. Even a keeper gets the hand on it, but it's just too strong. And then in the 91st minute, immediately when the added time's added, Lamine sends in a cross, and it's a really weird own goal. Because Ferran doesn't get on the ball. He doesn't get his head on the ball. And so the Levante player's trying to clear it out, and he gets his head on it fairly well, but it is just such a weird bounce. It just like scoops off his head, and the keeper can't react to it.
It just kind of went over the keeper.
Yeah, and it goes like from out the crossbar and then just
inside.
I can't blame the defender for it.
No, you can't. And the defender even like he can't even see the ball.
No,
I don't think it's behind him. Yeah. So
it was such a good cross from Lamine. It's just so hard to clear that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
He made it complicated.
It was heartbreaking for them. It was hard,
but it's not heartbreaking for us.
Exactly. So. You're happy. A goal is a goal.
Yeah, that's their biggest achievement, beating us.
Yeah.
They hate us.
So anyway, good game by Barcelona. Again, though, kind of some things where you've had a little bit of luck the last 2 weeks, and probably some things that you guys need to kind of clean up and shore up a little bit. But got out with a win, so that's good.
Yeah.
So, okay, next I'll update on my team, Liverpool. And also, we have one participant who still has not chosen a team, Carol. Liverpool is one of her teams, and I feel like Liverpool is just doing all they can to win her over. I mean, we're so lovable. But she still has not made a decision. Her other teams are Borussia Dortmund and AC Milan. So hopefully Carol will make a decision this week or in the next week or two. But let's do an update on Liverpool. They played today, played against Newcastle United in what was a super exciting game. And so Newcastle really was dominant in the first half. They really controlled the ball. They were aggressive. They had the ball in Liverpool's end of the field for most of the time. Liverpool did score. Gravenberch, am I saying it right?
Yeah.
Scored what was an amazing goal. It was just everyone was kind of shocked when it happened. Liverpool had the ball down in Newcastle's end of the field. Newcastle's defense was just kind of packed in, and they were kind of not giving them passing lanes and making it difficult. And all of a sudden, he got a good touch on the ball and then just fired it. And it just really kind of threaded the needle between some Newcastle players and went right into the corner of the net. So that was exciting. Newcastle got a red card in the first half that really, affected them, obviously. And it was an obvious red card. It was a rough foul against Van Dijk.
Yeah.
And by Gordon, came out of Liverpool's academy.
Yeah,
so
he's a Scouser too.
He's a Scouser, but now at Newcastle, and you could tell he felt bad about it. The Liverpool players were really kind to him. It was a red card.
It was a red card. Very, very dangerous red card too.
Yes, could have really hurt Van Dijk.
Yeah.
Bad. And so that put Newcastle down a man. In the second half, then Ekitike scored, second time he's scored so far this year. Scored 2 goals in 2 games.
3 goals in 3 of the official
yes,
games.
because he scored in the
Community Shield.
Community Shield. And so, yeah, great pickup for Liverpool. Feeling really good about that. He scored. We're up 2-0. And then Newcastle scores, gets one back. And so it's, and who scored that goal?
Bruno Guimaraes.
Yes. And so, okay, they're kind of back in it. And then in like the 88th or 89th minute, Newcastle scores a second goal. So they tie it up. And it's looking bleak. We're going to end in a draw. But there's 11 minutes of stoppage time added. And again, still, they were, really defending Liverpool well. Still look like it's going to end in a draw. And Liverpool's young star, 16-year-old Rio
Nguma.
Okay, Rio Nguma is in the game and gets a pass, right? Am I saying the right terms?
Yeah.
He gets a pass.
It would be a cross, yeah.
And I can't remember who started it.
I don't know who started it
But,
either. But then Szoboszlai,
yes,
he lets it go through his legs.
Yes.
Pulls the defender, and Rio's open.
and he has an open shot and
Smashes it in.
And it was great. It was super exciting. His first Premier League goal in his first Premier League game. And so it was a super exciting way to end. But my takeaway, kind of like your team, Liverpool has some things they've got to work on. We've had a little bit of luck last week and this week also.
It's offense overpowering defense.
Yes. And had Newcastle not gotten that red card, I'm not certain that we would have won because Newcastle really was aggressive and played really well.
Yeah.
So definitely a good game by Newcastle, even though they did not win. So what else happened in the Premier League or one of the other leagues this week that you feel like we ought to also touch on?
Tottenham beating Manchester City.
Yes.
Yeah. It was kind of a surprising result as people were really hyping up Manchester City after they dominated Wolves 4-0. Tottenham played really good off-ball football where they let Manchester City dominate the possession, but physically they really won the game.
Okay.
They really won that physical battle, and in that, when they would get the ball, they would get in these very quick counterattacks, and off of a counterattack, they immediately scored.
Okay.
And then in their second goal, it was from a mistake forced from James Trafford. He causes the mistake. It was a really bad pass.
And James Trafford is the
Man City goalkeeper.
Okay.
A really bad pass. Basically gets intercepted by Richarlison, and he basically gives it to Palhinha, and he really has an open net goal. He smashes it in, and that's the result. And they defended well the entire second half.
So they won 2-0 over Man City. And who did Tottenham beat last week?
Burnley.
Okay. And is Burnley a newly promoted team?
Yes.
Okay. But still, 2 wins. It's a good way to start the season. And like you said, coming off of match week 1, everyone was talking about how great Man City looked. And so kind of a turnaround this week for them. Okay. Any other games of other leagues or things that we need to be aware of or talk about? And am I correct that trades can continue to happen? Transfers up until
September.
Okay.
Because that's the end of summer.
Okay, so we may still see some players move. Would that, it could happen that players are still moving?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll pay attention to that. Okay, so that's it for Match Week 2. We'll be back next week. We're also going to start to check in with some of our matchup participants and interview them, see how they're enjoying it, see what questions they have for us. So stay tuned. Please follow us where you can. We're on TikTok, YouTube, and like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.